Hello everybody, welcome to another episode of the Seercast. Today with me we have Jess Surtees.
Hello.
ERNJ.
Hello.
Geena.
I was going to say something about white dragon hide, but that's just mean.
That would be terrible. Lime.
The legend continues!
Thorlah.
Hello.
Kitten in silent KG pillar form, aka she's not here. And Walter in the chat. So, today we have quite a bit to talk about, and it is all about One of a Kind. This last week, One of a Kind was released. It is a new Grandmaster quest, talking a lot about dragons, a lot about the Dragonkin, and is written, created, whatever you want to call it, in the old kind of quest format, where it's a globe-trotting adventure, where there's less quote-unquote hand-holding. The puzzles they're created in a way that is more of the kind of, the Morning's End Part 2 kind of puzzle form, where there isn't like, it's created in an old quest style. It's not like any of the quests we've had in the last maybe 3 or 4 years. So, before we get into the mechanics and the lore of the quest, I would like to ask what your ratings of the quest are, so we can give a backdrop to like our discussion about this. I'm gonna ask how close of it is to your favorite, like if it is your absolute favorite, if you think it's the best quest ever and you would do it again 1,000 times, give it a 10. If you think it's on the level of Salt in the Wound, give it a 1. Although, I don't actually particularly mind that quest. But I know that most people do, so I guess that's a good example. Also, a quest rating of how good it is, where 10 being something like, Branches of Darkmire, and 1 being Cook's Assistant.
Cook's Assistant was awesome and you know it.
I would say Cook's Assistant as a 10, and something else that was equally terrible, like Let Them Eat Pie as a 1, but I just couldn't troll that. But yeah, so, I guess we'll just go down the list. Jess Surtees, what do you think? Favorite, and how good do you think it was?
Okay. With favorite, I don't know. It's not in my top 10, I can say that, but it's not too far out, maybe top 15, 11 or 12, so, definitely, the quest itself, I'd probably give it about a 7 or an 8 rating. It felt a little bit short to me, but at the same time, I didn't feel bored or, I didn't feel like the quest was dragging on, so that's good. Just a lot of good lore, the mechanics were interesting, definitely meeting Hannibus and his character, actually, I cared about him at the end, and if a quest makes me do that, then, I consider it a success.
Yep.
Combat wasn't as good, but hey, it was, like you said, in the old style, so they didn't focus on the boss fights, and that's fine by me.
Mm-hmm. Alright, ERNJ?
Yeah, I have to agree here that it's not in my favorites, but it's definitely a good quest, I'd say. And, 7 or 8 seems like a decent rating. It's not terrible, but it's not at the very top.
Mm-hmm. Geena?
I would put it at about just below 7. I found a little bit of trouble actually getting into the story, especially near the beginning. But the lore was really good, and I did enjoy playing through it with no hand-holding mechanics.
Yes. Lime?
Well, I'd put it on like a 6 in my, I wouldn't say that it's in my top 10 or top 15. I'd say it's in my, top 25. And that's because I didn't really think that the story was too tied together. But I would say that it was a good quest, and it was really refreshing to have all these old no hand-holding, globe-trotting aspects back, and not in the form of bringing home the bacon.
Well, I mean, bringing home the bacon is a negative 30 for you, so...
Yes.
Okay, one thing I did forget to mention is for favorites. I don't think I would include it in any list unless you went counting down some 15 quests.
Yeah. Thorlah?
Opinions?
Yes.
I'd say it's in my top 10.
like you guys are saying, I'm really happy that they went back to the old style with this one. I think my only, I guess you could call it complaint, is the ending. Because I feel like either you let Hannibus die in peace, like send him off, go home without even a remote chance of bringing back his race, or you lock him up for who knows how long to have who knows what happen to him for that small potential.
Yeah.
And it was a rough choice.
Yeah, you can say that again.
I mean, that could be considered a good thing, though.
Yeah. I can understand it too.
Yeah, as for me, it's also not exactly among my favorites. But I do definitely consider it a good quest. I'd give it probably an 8 of 10. Like Lime said, I do think the story was a little bit disjoint especially between were the statues and the dragons. Like, that was two different plot lines, and then one just ends, and then the other one, it's really strange the way those two intermixed.
Or, well, in my opinion, they didn't really intermix too well.
Well, yeah, that's what yeah, more or less.
On behalf of Walter, he says it's a really good quest, and he have to knock off points for being in the 6th age. And he says maybe an 8 overall, and maybe an 8 personally. But he really liked it, so removing those points didn't really hurt much. But that he wants everyone to know, stop making things matter. To which I say,
stop giving him choices, cause he's bad at those. That's basically what he's saying. He says he doesn't mind the 6th age stuff, he just minds the choice things.
Yeah.
Silly Walter. Yep. But yeah, so that
Walter, please.
So that moves us into the mechanics. I guess we'll start with the puzzles. I'll just go ahead and say that I failed miserably at the first riddle, and I actually solved it in a reasonable amount of time. I just stood there for another hour and a half, being like, okay, that item doesn't exist. And I didn't go back and click the damn weapon rack.
It's exactly what happened to me.
I think I was thinking a bit too hard with old mechanics and was looking for some way I could get items that would provide me with the stuff. Yeah. And then I finally decided to just walk back into the lab and said, hold on a second, this thing I examined at the very beginning. Okay.
Yeah, I clicked on the weapon rack at the very beginning coming in, because I mean, like a reasonably good quester, you click on everything. And so I clicked it coming in, and I didn't click it again because I'd already clicked.
Yeah, it broke my heart. I was watching the stream.
And 2 or 3 of you were watching, and just me rack my brain. I had the right answer, and then, but yeah. I like the riddles though. As bad as I am at them, I love them. Like, I love having them in the quests. I love puzzles like that. It's well documented that I loved Elemental Workshop 3 because of that puzzle.
Yep.
Yeah.
I mean, what I didn't like about the second puzzle, the translation puzzle, is that I spent like 2 hours trying to translate the whole thing, and having it made known to me that I couldn't translate the whole thing was just like, come on.
Yeah, at the same time.
I kept hanging around hoping they would actually provide the rest of the words eventually. Yeah. And then the trail cut off and went off to other things.
Yeah, I was debating whether I should just go on, and then I thought, no, I'll stay around. And then ERNJ alerted me to the fact that I couldn't translate the whole thing, and I was like,
yeah, pretty much.
So I hit the toggle on the book that like automatically translated for you, and I just went by the words that were like revealed.
Yeah, that's what I did too.
I mean, I liked the whole translation puzzle. It's just that I wish you could translate the whole thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or if there's more places, like, even if there are super obscure places that you could find stuff, like, really, really obscure places that you could find translations that wouldn't actually matter to the quest, but you could do it just to do it. Like, that
sounds like some random post-quest thing, which...
Sounds like a Mod Stew thing.
Yeah, go to the...
In before Gall Hunt with translations.
You go to the top of Demonheim and you cast that spell on the Dragonkin statue and it starts talking to you and translates.
That would actually be amazing.
Okay, here's the thing. People did try that because it made sense, okay?
that would actually have been amazing if you could revive the Moes.
Mm-hmm. Which is what we call Dragonkin statues, by the way.
Yes. Yes. The Dragonkin statues do not ask where this came from, but they're Moes.
Good to know. I think, at the same time, I do want to translate everything, but it makes sense. Robert the Strong, as smart as he was, he didn't know that much about the dragon. He was trying to find out, information himself. And what he did find out, helped us, but, I think it makes sense that he didn't know everything. That also ties into, using the dragons as a lead, but then also using the mysterious statues. He didn't know which direction to go. We didn't know which direction to go, so even though it's disjointed, it kind of makes sense, You're doing an investigation, you're going to have dead ends. That's just part of it.
Yeah, that's true.
I will say that I did enjoy wrecking Unferth's house.
Yeah. That was awesome.
Yeah.
In the QA, the Raven got asked a question, can we ever fix that house up? And in true Raven fashion, he was like, I never thought about that. But I guess that might be a noble thing to do.
Like, that was the part of the quest where I was like, okay, this is Mod Raven right here.
Speaking of fixing
destroy
things,
this place.
I have never replanted the cabbages after Death and Chivalry.
I haven't either.
I just
lol cabbage.
I replanted them, but I wanted to put up a sign that said Saradomin was here.
Saradomin was here. But yeah. So yeah, the puzzles were good. Especially with regards to the translation puzzle, that leads us to our second major mechanic of the quest, which was the globe-trotting aspect, most with reference to the wilderness. So, what are your thoughts on the wilderness being in this quest? I'm going to take out the fact that day one PKing was an issue, because it got patched, thank God, but on day one, after you go find Terrathorn, or no, before you find Terrathorn, after you talk to the KBD, you're teleported outside of Terrathorn's dungeon thing. I guess you can call it a dungeon.
Yeah, sure.
And for 2 seconds you're in the wilderness at like level 50 something. And you're free to attack, and everybody gets teleported there, and PKers just camped it.
Mm-hmm.
So aside from that, because that was an obvious problem that they recognized was an obvious problem, I got PK'd. And then hopped worlds and did it on the quick chat world. But what are your thoughts on the globetrotting in general and the use of the wilderness here?
I'd just like to point out.
Oh, okay.
I'd just like to point out.
Lime first, then Geena.
I'd just like to point out that there were 3 people around me that I immediately saw on the minimap, so I just spam clicked everywhere until I accidentally entered the dungeon before they could attack me.
They attacked me before my screen stopped being black.
Yeah, my screen was black, but I saw the minimap and I was like, shit.
Yeah.
So was it just a staying black screen thing, or is it right through the whole part where they're talking to you too?
What do you mean?
It was just the initial black screen.
Because I don't believe I ran into any issues. Of course, I was on the quick chat world and there were no PKers, and having been tipped off to wilderness, I knew there would be camping if there was a chance.
Yeah. I did the first 2/3 of the quest on World 100. Didn't have any problems with PKers going into Ferinthree Dungeon, but then...
Yeah, that part was fine. It made enough sense with the green dragons.
Yeah.
And where else do you find green dragons anyway?
And especially now that they aren't aggressive, I knew I didn't have to worry about even bringing anti-fire, so I was like, whatever.
Of course, I could bring it to every spot just in case there was a fight to be had.
Yeah.
I honestly had no problems. I was on World 100 a couple hours after it came out, and no PKers, but I know that the black screen was a problem.
Because the PKers aren't doing the quest, they're waiting for someone to get enough of a walkthrough that they know where to camp.
I think it was Runic that was doing the quest in full Tetsu and Drygors, and he's just, after the quest, after he realized that this was a problem, he's like, holy shit, that could have been really, really bad.
Yeah, that is why I don't take my best gear.
Okay.
Yeah, I
so
did.
People went in with their highest gear.
I had Ascensions and I had my full gear with, Death Lotus, Death Lotus, main hand Ascension, offhand Death Lotus darts, and all of my stuff before I got teleported into the wilderness, like before you click on the thing, and it said, be prepared for wilderness encounter. I'm like, oh dear God. So then I banked everything. I'm glad I did.
Yeah. I went through that and bought an entire set of welfare gear.
Yeah, I did. After I got PK'd the first time when I was wearing welfare gear, I bought another set. So, I ended up beating the boss in, Batwing and with a Staff of Light.
Yeah. I have a rolled dragon hat and a hand cannon, so.
And a hand cannon. That's old school.
That's welfare.
But yeah, so Geena, you said what you needed to?
1/4, so.
Like it was shoehorned.
I don't mind them including it.
It felt like it was shoehorned in just so they could say, oh, it's just to fulfill that requirement that people put in. Like, it felt like the whole dragon investigation thing, it could have gone somewhere really, really well with all the translation and stuff like that and interviewing all the dragons. But, and then it just stopped at Celestial Dragons. I thought, well then what was the point of all of that?
To find out that it was a dead end.
But
how many people wanted the ancient petting zoo to be involved?
Oh dear God.
So I thought that the dragons should have led somewhere.
Yeah, we did keep running into a lot of dead ends after that whole run around.
Yeah. But I mean, I guess as Jess already said, it is an investigation, and in any investigation, you will run into dead ends. I just kind of wish that it was more, that it was a little bit more linear, where the first investigation goes and comes to an end, and then he says, but I've heard that there might be these other things. But I mean, I guess then that ties into the whole hand-holding aspect of the quest, where it's kind of forcing you down the linear path, and I guess,
Possibly.
Well,
Hannibus did mention,
I was just reminded of
the statues, but...
Okay. The thing I had to...
Oh, go ahead, Geena.
Sorry, okay. Yeah, I was just reminded of this. There were several times when I was wondering, so when do we go see the King Black Dragon?
Yeah, actually, same here.
Do you really not want to see him after all this time? Because I just told you he's still alive.
Yeah. And possibly that I've killed him
over
before.
To get your book, which I am waving in front of your face right now.
Which I still don't have. Oh, and speaking of KBD book, Kitten has officially gotten 10 KBD heads and 0 journals.
She wants her free
OP.
sandwich. Yes. She wants her free sandwich.
She wants her free sandwich, yes. But okay.
Speaking of books, when I started the quest, and then the first thing that Mr. Morag gives you is it says Hannibus's last journal. I was like, what?
You want?
Oh, that's
Did you just hand me the last riders?
I sense troll. Mouse over. Yeah.
It probably, it was that was a troll.
Yeah.
That really was a troll.
Yeah. It ended up being something different, but I was just like, you did not just do that.
I know I did the very first part of the quest separately from the rest just to get a small taste. And I got to see that book troll.
Yeah.
Just...
I've never seen Blast Riders in my inventory though, so I wouldn't even know.
Of course, I saw the exact copy there and said, "You better not have given me Blast Riders."
You had it in your inventory, yeah. But yeah, so that covers that. I guess a little something to mention is the boss fight. We were all freaking out about it because they were designing it for level 80, balancing it around level 80, and then
I thought it was Fate of the Gods now. But what?
Wasn't it one of a kind that they were balancing for level 80?
No, that's Fate of the Gods.
Oh, never mind then.
Definitely Fate of the Gods, which we should all be freaking out about now.
Okay, then we can start freaking out about that now. But the Echo of Jas was apparently level 190, and I killed that in Batwing and a Staff of Light.
Mm-hmm.
So what?
I just kind of casually button spammed my way through that.
Yeah, I did too. With
I was
little bit of
expecting
eating.
something to happen if I stood still for too long, or if I didn't stop the false users from doing something, or whatever.
Zamorak would drop rocks on you if you stood still for too long.
Yeah, I got rocks dropped on me a couple times.
But that wasn't really deadly at all.
No, it really wasn't. I didn't die, so it wasn't difficult.
I did enjoy being able to one-hit Serader, Zamorak, and Lucian.
Yes,
Some
the
of us
false
got
users.
stun spammed so hard we didn't even get to take a shot.
I tried to attack the false users, but every time I tried, I was stunned. I'm just like, what the hell?
Okay, the first time when Lucian came up and I saw he had 1 HP, I'm like, is this a Temple of Icon reference?
It may have been.
Every quester's dream. One shot, Lucian.
Yes. Spoiler alert, Lucian died.
Indeed he did.
Yep.
Also, Strusaf ended up in a cage again.
Poor guy.
Oh, this is gonna be a
I
thing.
swear, he's imprisoned like half the time we see him in quests.
Yes, he is. He likes it in there. He thinks it's warm and cozy.
And he likes bashing his head against the side.
Or, I guess probably more specifically, other people think he thinks it's nice and cozy.
Yeah.
Walter says this needs to continue.
Is it time?
Increasingly unlikely people need to capture him.
We need
Okay,
to.
like 7.
We need to get Reldo to capture him.
He's next quest you're going to see is Farmer Fred having Strassath in a cage.
The gnome who was in jail for the whole thing with the elf series.
Or that. It's in a cage in the jail cell. It's like, how did you do this?
All I can picture now is Farmer Fred being like, well, this stupid flying lizard came in trying to burn my chickens, so I lock him up.
With this handy-dandy Dragonkin-proof cage that I just so happen to have.
Yeah.
You know it.
I was going to use it to try and kill the thing.
Oh god.
And
Yeah,
that is
using the Stone of Jas, just capture Stritsaf, make him do whatever you need.
I mean, the penguins should have him too. I
Yeah.
mean,
And
the
that would be
Dragonkin
our
can fly,
time.
right? So that's their ticket to learning how to fly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Capture Strassath.
That is
And maybe we won't pick up flying, they can fly through the world.
Yeah.
Okay.
Conquer the universe.
You know it.
No, Lime.
No,
No.
I don't.
I mean, we had a
Don't.
penguin, and I had
Cute
to,
Kerapac image.
Yeah, no. I just put a penguin picture up, so I'm not gonna put Kerapac up yet. But yes, that Kerapac dialogue was amazing.
Okay, let's
and is
just
so
go on
relevant to so many different things.
Yeah.
Thank you, Orange, for posting it in the chat for the 30th time today.
Like, I know it's like, oh, we didn't get any lore, so that's kind of disappointing, but just the way that we didn't get lore.
Can you tell us something about the Dragonkin? No.
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 Yeah, it's
really
pretty
about time that I just say it. There was a random Dragonkin fireball in this quest.
good. Yes,
Yeah,
there in fact was a random Dragonkin fireball.
Like
You know it.
I was on Skype with ERNJ at the same time, and part of the text was, what? Random Dragonkin fireball, and then Kerapac?
Yeah, I think on my stream I said, oh hello, oh hey look, there's a random Dragonkin fireball, or something like that.
Okay, my reaction after waking up in the lab and just figuring out what just happened involved me going around like, yes, there was a random Dragonkin fireball. I knew this was a thing.
Maybe he heard about the random Dragonkin fireball spamming and threw it in there as a reference.
Yeah. Anyways, what? I love how you thank him for rescuing you. But Walter says this.
Walter, please.
Given the idea that there's a good chance he threw it out himself. Unless, it was most definitely Strissaf, whoever that is.
Yeah, of course.
Mm-hmm.
Strissaf. I can't even Dragonkin.
Lime cannot into Strissaf.
Strissaf is, he's pretty much the General Khazard of the Dragonkin.
The ultimate failure?
Yeah.
I guess I can see that. And along those lines, let's go ahead and get talking about the lore a little bit more. Let's just go ahead and start with the Dragonkin. So, we learned a little bit about the Dragonkin, not from Kerapac. Thanks a lot, asshole. But,
him doing that is precisely the reason why I let Anubis go.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, that was my entire reasoning right there. Anubis gave me lore.
If he gave me
the Dragon Rider there, what's her name, gave lore. White Dragon did too, but she's not really the... Kerapac absolutely did not.
So he does not get a Dragonkin. Dragon Rider.
Yeah, no Dragon Rider for you.
Yeah, but but we did learn a little bit about the Dragonkin, especially with their relationship to the Elder Artifacts. So, we know that the Elder Artifacts, especially the Tok'ar, that extends to several above-world creations, I guess you could say, being those mysterious statues. So, we now know that Saraderp disturbed them, at least the one on Entrana, which he picked up and dumped into the water.
Saraderp, don't you understand? You can't drown rocks.
By the way, the submerged statue had the most amazing chat head. Like,
I just realized I'm just imagining him picking it up and throwing it in there with a huge splash now.
I mean, the best part of that...
It's a Sarah splash. It's the first. It's the original.
The best part of all of those statues was how stoned they looked during all of that serious dialogue. They looked completely stoned.
Isn't that the idea?
They're like,
I'm saying, I did not see that whole thing coming from them being used in that series, and that was never actually the point.
But, yeah. But the mysterious stones were the reason that King's Ransom was a requirement, which is that and the animate rock. So that was an interesting thing. It was nice to see those get used again, though.
That was really, really cool.
It's like, oh hey, these things are actually relevant again.
Yeah.
Also,
Especially
I wasn't really buying the whole, they're just pointing the way into some other route. But you have giant statues all over the West to show, okay, sure.
Yep.
Now they tell us that they're actually to point to this. Stop using the Stone of Jez, you idiots.
Yep.
I love how they also explained how some of them were removed from the game by saying, humans made them into statues. Castles.
Okay. Just speaking of that, when I was going looking for the statues to start finding the way, I went to both of the locations of the removed ones first.
GG.
Oh, Gina.
Where were the removed ones?
The ports are really.
Yeah, that actually ended up being the first two I went to. I was like, there's one in Port Sarim, right?
Yeah.
And they're like, no. Not anymore. God damn it. There's one in Taverley too, huh? No.
Anymore.
Yeah.
Well, I went to the one in Catherby first, though, or Sears Village.
Wait, Catherby's still exists?
Sears Village, it's next to Camelot.
It's the one
I ended up going to the Brimhaven one.
Okay, so Walter mentions in the chat, what he loves is how the elders needed to have those made to warn about the Dragonkin. Who were they warning? Does this mean that they do know about life, or did they just foresee a possible future where it could happen? So that is an interesting question, because what was it? Was it Maud Osborne that has said that the Elder Gods created this pristine world and then worry, and then might not be happy to see life on said world or something like that. Mm-hmm. Jack and Osborne.
Okay, that does raise a question here.
The Elder Gods aren't familiar with life, was what they said. So, and if they're stones, then how would they, I guess, how would they communicate without, I don't know. That is an interesting question that should be brought forward.
We had to go in and pull out the animate rock scroll on them. Apparently they're just supposed to be able to.
It's an interesting question to say the least.
Yeah, I never thought about that, actually.
Maybe they originally talked, but then over the years they just, turned to stone, quote unquote.
I would think. Mm-hmm. If you think about it, the lava is what makes the Takar, that's the Takar's lifeblood. So, maybe it's kind of a similar situation and they just faded out over time because of it, I don't know.
Mm-hmm. I could possibly take that one.
I don't know, that is an interesting question and something I wish I'd known before the frequently asked questions were asked, because that would have been a good one to have answered. But hey, maybe one of them's gonna listen and we're gonna get and they'll tell us afterwards. But yeah.
Okay, so
next time you see Mod Jack in the CC, ask him that.
Can we talk about the human homeworld now?
Yes, go.
Alright, so apparently it's a frozen rock, and it's the planet of the assholes.
And
Hail
I never found the book until way after the quest.
If I was going to be more detailed, it's a pretty cold planet, and it's really, really serious. And you can see that could be because of Saradomin's influence on the planet. And that they get all of their magical power, and apparently they're really advanced, from this thing called the Schism. Schism. I call it the Schism, because who can even English?
It's Schism.
Schism.
Yes, that is something that will actually bug me. That is Schism, because that's a history thing. Mm-hmm. It's an interesting name for it, though. That's really, I took to the name, I was like, hold on a second, that's a really...
It means a rift, right?
Huh?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. It's a separation, which is...
So it's like
a rift. Yeah.
Yep.
Like a Daemonheim rift.
Yeah. And Robert describes, that's Robert's homeland. Robert's, Terra Guardian, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he's from Terragard.
Yeah, so he's from Terragard, and he snuck into the room with the Schism, and walked through it to Gielinor. So, it's like...
It's totally a rift.
Yeah, it's a rift to another planet.
Well, I'm pretty sure that Terra means Earth, and Guard would be coming from Midgard, which meant Earth.
Yeah,
so Terra, Guard.
Terra's Latin for Earth, I think.
Yeah. It is worth mentioning that Terragard is not Earth.
No, it isn't. It's just cold. It's an
Terragard is Terragard. So...
an icy rock.
It's cold in both temperature and temperament. Humans from Terragard are elitist.
Okay.
Well, yeah. Hence, Planet of the Assholes.
Yeah, yeah. I just felt like that was worth mentioning. It's also ruled over by 7 magisters, the heads of 7 ruling families. They're responsible for officiating over law, tradition, and even religion. They dictate the rules that everyone on Terragard must follow, but more importantly, they are the people that protect and control the Helix, the Schism. Figured I'd throw that in there. Because that's just what it looks like.
Yeah, that's where all magical power on Terragard come from. So, clearly we need to steal it.
Yeah. It seems like that's an Elder artifact, but aren't...
Let's take it.
Yeah. Dibs. Because, it's clearly I'm just gonna call it an artifact. It's an artifact of unimaginable power. It's probably what gives the ruling families their power. It's the source of the energy of the entire planet.
It could actually be, what is it? It could be what's making everyone so serious and all the ruling power, that, like, making everyone so elitist. Like imagine like the sarcophagus from Stargate SG-1. It makes you kind of mad with power or elitist and stuff like that.
Perhaps.
If anyone here watched Stargate SG-1.
You see what the Rift did to, that other guy, so, I don't know. These kind of type of magical things, these magical things, they have some effects on people.
Walter says he doesn't think it's an Elder artifact because Sarah Derp would have taken it. And yeah, that's true, but...
Wait, didn't he take it?
I don't think so.
No, he didn't take it.
Terraguard's the cap... No, wait, no, that's New Domina.
Yeah, New Domina is the capital of the Icene homeworld.
No,
Right.
That's the... Is that the planet or the capital? That's the Icene homeworld, though.
Yeah.
All we know is that Ceradoma was human. We don't know it came from Terraguard. Unless all humans came from Terraguard.
Didn't he?
Well, he had from Terraguard.
He did, yeah, he came from Terraguard.
But wouldn't New Domina be the capital of the Ceradominist Empire?
I think it was. Because I think what we discovered, or we decided on, or what the lore decided on, or whatever, was that Ceradomin left the humans, found the Icene, and then felt like the Icene were superior to humans, so then made New Domina the capital of, and the Icene homeworld as the capital of his empire. Or of his whatever.
Ceradomin was from the planet of the elitists.
And he is more elitist.
I mean, it is said he is a superior form of humans, but I didn't know it was that superior.
Yeah.
Everything was enhanced.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's worth mentioning, perhaps, the way that Ceradomin came to be a god was via the schism.
It could be, yeah.
Yeah.
Because we don't know how he came to power. But if the schism is an Elder artifact, and that's his homeworld, I think he'd be less inclined to take it with him.
No, I think he found the Crown Archival first. And now whether he went through the schism to find it, we don't know.
Yeah,
most likely.
That's true.
But he wouldn't...
Yeah, that's fine.
If the schism is powering all the technology on Terraguard, and it's an icy planet, I mean, they're gonna need, heating and everything to stay alive. I don't think he would steal it.
Yeah. And considering it was his homeworld.
Yeah.
That's the thing, like, even though Saraderp is an asshole, sorry, our resident Ceradominist is here, but even though he has proven to not exactly be the nicest guy, I think if you stole the schism, that would mess with order so much on the planet that it came from that it would completely violate all of your your whatever you want to call it. Your
beliefs.
Yes.
I mean, you admit that Ceradomin wasn't like, he had many problems with himself in the past.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like, he was not a nice guy in the past. So, but even he would not just, steal all the power of his homeworld.
Yeah.
Yep.
I mean, this is all more or less baseless speculation, but...
It's speculative.
It's nice to know, from one book we actually find out quite a lot, so
yeah,
good.
We had no idea that Terraguard existed. We just knew that there was a human homeworld. And it's interesting. It's very interesting to note. Let me see here.
What else? Should we talk about the Dragon Riders themselves? Because we've done just not much about that. Alright, so, the Dragon Riders, they come from, what's it called? Name escapes me, but they believe in this force called the Olundai, which means they believe that each one of them is making their own impact on history, and it's just so, everything is part of this bigger thing that they describe like a painting. And every one of their lives are, there's kind of contributing to the painting, but they can't imagine how. And how they contribute to the painting is their effect on everything.
Yep.
Which is a really bad way of explaining it, but is it?
No, it makes sense.
No.
Everything's connected.
Yeah, they believe in the everything's connected kind of thing. And, anyone else want to have a go?
Well, I mean, the Dragon Riders, you mentioned their outlook on life, where they came from, and I'm not sure whether this was mentioned in The Last Riders or it was mentioned for the first time in the quest. I think it was in Last Riders, but they're on their planet. It was there were large beasts that they tamed, and they worked with them. Huh?
Gurs.
Oh, yeah.
They were called the goats, right? Those were first mentioned.
Right? Gurs. G-H-U-R.
Gurs, yes.
Gurs.
But yeah, that's where the Gurs were large beasts, and they used them, they had a harmonious relationship with them to help them with plowing their fields and such. One thing that I was kind of interested in, or that kind of interested me in the latter stages of the quest, was that there was still a population of Illuyanka.
Dragon Rock.
Huh?
Yeah, the Illuyanka.
Yeah, the Illuyanka on that home planet, which I can't remember. It's Yaya, I think?
Something like that.
I-A-I-A. I'm pretty sure it would be pronounced Yaya.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. But, I'll just call it their homeworld. But, I was surprised because it sounded like in the Last Riders that everybody had up and left. But I guess not.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because Hannibus' great something great.
Yeah,
grandpa.
Great times
Kerrigan.
X.
Whose name is Kerrigan.
Yeah.
And was the best title ever. What was her title again? It was something really, really lore related.
I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
What was
it was like Keeper of History or something like that.
Oh, yeah.
So she has the best title ever, and she came from Yaya and thus she came to see Hannibus.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yes, the past keeper of the Yaya, which is amazing.
Yeah, that's right.
Past keeper.
Also, I was very happy with the name choice of Kerrigan, for obvious reasons.
Mm-hmm.
I was very happy with that.
I only just realized it when you said it just now.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that was interesting there. I did find it interesting what they were talking about with that Hannibus kept mentioning the fairy rings, and I guess it's something that I don't know if we as players have ever really considered. Like, these have been around for a really freaking long time, but Hannibus using the fairy rings, and they'd been around for a significantly long time before that.
Mm-hmm.
And to the point of trying to see if it connected to his homeworld, in before it does sometime. But yeah, I mean, clearly we have a fairy ring connection to the Naragi homeworld now too, so.
Oh yeah, we do.
Yeah.
What else?
Let me see. There's a few.
Shall we talk about the dragons?
Yes. Yeah, that's definitely something we need to get to.
Alright, so let's start with just how the Dragonkin treated the dragons. It was actually
killing babies.
Yes, killing babies. They were really brutal to the dragons, and they would always write their notes in this weird green text. Oh dear, green text. On rocks. And they were really heartless scientists, ethicless, warrior race. That's what I got from how the Dragonkin are.
Yeah.
So they would go around, they would pour molten metal and cast weird enchantments on baby dragons and or dragon eggs, and they would steal babies from the Queen Black Dragon, and they would drive them insane, which is probably violating all the rules set forth by PETA.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, maybe.
But yeah,
anyways,
that was that entire part of the quest was just straight depressing. Like,
yes,
like God damn it, Dragonkin. And it's a thing, and part of it was that they was just like always, oh, that was a failure, and there was no like that was a terrible thing we did. Unfortunately, it was like nope, that was a failure. That just cast it aside. Nope, that was a failure. Cast it aside.
And again. Yeah. And again, and you could see from Kerapac's lab that he was preparing to do it again and again.
Yeah,
right.
in Kerapac's lab, there, in case you didn't either just blasted through it or didn't examine everything, there was a dissected strike worm, there was a baby dragon, or there was a red dragon that was dissected.
There was also a bunch of grot worms.
Yeah, there was dissected grot worms. Yeah. There was originally going to be a baby dragon spine in there, but
it was
Mosborn nixed that.
He had a bunch of ancient effigies for some reason. I guess we know where those went.
Yep. Yeah.
And
at what cost?
I went down and I took a bunch of pictures of everything and I gave them to Walter, so hopefully they'll make it on the podcast.
Yeah,
but
probably.
He also had a bunch of flags down there, and that makes me very, very curious. Like, what would those flags even be for? And what else?
Wait, so flags?
Yes, there were flags down there.
Is that in the thread? Because I need to see them. Because I don't know if I saw them.
Yeah, I saw the flags.
By the way, Walter, your Imgur gallery at the bottom is broken.
Oh, that might be.
It is.
Actually, both of yours are broken. Well, we figured this out.
Yeah, that's fine. Yeah, it works.
Okay, that one works.
Yep. Oh, there we go.
I'm just gonna try and find this. If there's a flag, I see all the chat heads.
Yeah.
Terra Thorn.
There are two banners.
Oh, the banners.
Yep, yeah. I see it.
In 9 and 13.
Yes.
Okay. But that's that's the stuff that we see in LOL-DG anyway, isn't it?
I don't think so.
Maybe not the specific banners, but yeah, it's not like an interactable object, it's just, you kind of see it on the wall.
Yeah, but
you can't make up the design.
There are two camps for Dragonkin, aren't there? There are the Dactyl, and then there are the Necrocertes.
Yeah.
So those might be like the banners that are used for both of them.
Could be.
Maybe. I mean, we know that Strishath was in a cage, and Strishath was originally a Dactyl and got turned into the Necrocertes because, or a Necrocert, or whatever you want to call it, because he was driven mad by the stones, whatever. I can't remember the exact wording of it, but where is it?
So, you say the stone's curse?
Yeah, the stone's curse, I guess is the way to put it. Oh, here it is. Kerapac says, "You see what this curse does to us, player? Strishath was once one of our most celebrated philosophers. Time was he could peer at the vagaries of the universe and pluck meaning from chaos, but now he is one of the Necrocertes, spitting death threats at anyone who so much thinks about that accursed stone of Jas." Blah blah blah. The pain that the stone inflicts on us drive many of our kind mad, reducing them to the sorry state you see before you. I want to know if your special traits can help to weaken this effect. But yeah.
So even though, Kerapac and others, pretty reckless, trying to break the curse, they do a good job of making you understand why they want it to be broken. I mean, it's pretty tragic in a way.
Yeah, I mean, it's a tragic. The entire situation with the Dragonkin and the dragons themselves is kind of a tragic one with regards to that. Like, the Dragonkin are in a constant state of torment, and they've done experiments on others to try and relieve said torment, but they have been unable to. It's I don't know. It's not a happy story. It's probably one of the reasons that not all of us it's not among our favorite quests, but I guess it's not supposed to be.
Yeah,
it doesn't change the fact that it was a very good quest, regardless. Is there anything else we need to say about the Dragonkin? I'm sure we're missing a lot of stuff, and I'm sure if anybody listening wants us to cover something regarding something we missed, leave us a message, send us a tweeter, I don't know. But yeah.
I just had a random thought now. Kerapac, will you take my effigies?
I'm sure he would love to study them. We do get confirmation that the Dragonkin were not from Gielinor originally, but I thought we already knew that.
They're capable of moving between worlds, right?
Yeah, and that was the reason we talked with them, basically.
So the white dragons, they passed on. I believe it's also confirmed that the white dragons are the children of the queen. Is it queen?
I'm not sure. I don't think I saw
that.
I think all the dragons are, because they were all...
Oh yeah, well,
wait, was the first.
I should rephrase that. The celestial dragons were originally white dragons.
Yeah.
Right?
Yes, and they were taken to the eggs were infused with the powers of the abyss, I think.
So now they can't tell today from tomorrow, from yesterday, from next week.
Yeah.
Right.
What was it? There was a where is it? I'm trying to find. There's a quote in here about the celestial dragons. Oh, here it is. Hannibus says, "O player, I see it now, how the eggs were infused with the strangeness of another place, the abyss. Something took them and twisted them outside of time. I can keep them grounded for now, focused on the present, but it's difficult. It's driven them mad, whatever the process is. Each of them seems unable to cope except on an instinctual level." And the celestial dragon himself says, "My mind clear, pain constant burning, is it tomorrow or today?" So yeah. But yeah, it's just a constant, and we already knew this about the Dragonkin, is that they were constantly performing experiments on the dragons to find a way of breaking the curse.
And they intended to, Kerapac intended to perform experiments on Hannibus until he could break his own curse. And if he could give a solution to the Dragon Riders, then that'd be a nice side effect, but whatever.
Yeah.
It definitely wasn't his main priority.
Yeah, we'll get, I guess it's worth mentioning that choice at the end right now. Just curious, did anybody here pick to send to keep Hannibus with Kerapac?
No.
No.
I believe that Shiraki did.
Yep.
Yeah.
I know Eternus Lux did as well.
So that makes two clan people, and that's it. Yeah.
I mean, if you have a heart, how could you vote to not give Hannibus back? I mean,
well, Well, yeah, I know, but the choice wasn't that black and white to me. I mean, it was both sides had pretty good arguments.
Yeah, it wasn't black and white to me either.
Yeah, Hannibus had already left his people, of course believing a false lie, but he left his people in order to try to find a solution. I mean, he already demonstrated that he was willing to do whatever it took. And I only chose to send him back now because it was so many years, and he had been petrified. But
yeah, I mean, the ideal choice for me would have been go back with your people for a few years and then come back and see if Kerapac can help you.
Yeah.
Well, I mean,
that's not an option, but
there's a chance that he wouldn't even live another few years, and if we waited another few years, there would be no chance of saving them. There's even a chance that you couldn't even save them now, because there are just so few of them.
That's true, yeah.
Yeah, and
I think it's a matter of if you've lived with something that always seems to hang over your head like some big doom, and you desperately hope that there's some way out, and you keep looking and keep looking and keep looking, and you may want to take the, I guess you could call it, easier way out, which is just choosing to go home. But some people don't want to give up that fight, even if it means they have to sacrifice themselves, and that's why I think it was a harder choice.
I mean, what we can take away from this is that if there was a possibility of a cure, and Zeros was able to give it, then he killed the Dragon Rider. He killed the Illuyanka.
Yeah, it was like if you didn't do this, you're basically condemning the Illuyanka to death, and
I guess, when Hannibus was, when he first met Zaros, I guess maybe he was more vulnerable as well, because, it's the first person to come from another world. There was just like an amusement factor, and then he's like, wow, this guy, he just walked through a portal, maybe he can save my race, Yeah. It was pretty convincing. He's wiser now, though.
Yeah. I guess in a few thousand years, we'll have a few chats with the Gurs.
Grr.
Yeah, I mean, it's a... Like, the entire dragon aspect of this, between the Dragon Riders and the Dragonkin and the dragons themselves, is really a tragic kind of thing. Mm-hmm. And it's very Raven-esque.
This quest was tragedy. That's what it was.
Yeah, it was definitely a tragedy. I mean, the choice at the end was wrenching. Dark. And, yeah. But, let's see here.
And I think... Is that everything we wanted to talk about?
It's a lot of this stuff. I do want to mention that in the Q&A, where is it? I'm not sure if it actually made it into the thread or not, but...
Oh yeah, there was the Lulzy Q&A.
Oh, here it is. Yeah, some of the questions that were asked in the Q&A were just horrendously bad. But,
Is Kerapac the smuggler?
That one was great.
Raven was like, what?
Why would you think that?
Yes.
Notice he didn't say no, but still, we know better than that. The question was, will the choice we made concerning Hannibus's fate have real implications in future gameplay? We have, and Mod Osborne says, we have future content in mind that will be changed by your choice in this quest. So cue Walter rage, but it makes it seem like we may have contact with Hannibus again, regardless. And I really, 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 really want that.
Well, if we continue down the Dragonkin line and storyline, and we end up finding a cure, maybe we could go over to the Dragon Rider homeworld and give it to them and see if it'll work for them.
Yeah, and it might, and even something like if we have a contact with Terra Thorn, who is the White Dragon, if we remain in contact with her, or if we have some kind of way of reaching that planet, like if we require the help of the Dragon Riders or something like that, we could pull them into the storyline. There's a lot of stuff they can do with that. I was very surprised by this ending because of that. Like, there's so much you can do with the Dragon Riders with regards to the Elder Gods and the Dragonkin storyline, and hell, even even the god storylines, because they were involved in the Third Age and the...
They were fundamentally
or Second
Age. They were like, Zeros personally went and took them.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So the kind of the Dragon Riders, after the quest, we realized that the Dragon Riders have a key part in all three of the major Sixth Age storylines that they keep talking about. All three pillars of the Sixth Age.
Right.
So maybe Zaros is key. I mean, they said he's in all three too, so maybe he's like, hey, I want to get my forces back.
Yeah.
What about those Dragon Riders?
They might say, in before that's in Fate of the Gods.
Oh dear.
Wink, wink, nudge, nudge.
Surprise, Hannibus is back.
And now he's gone again. Whoops.
God damn it. But yeah, so that's...
I mean, it's possible that we could recruit a few Dragon Riders to help our fight against the Elder Gods, maybe like as a last hurrah for the Dragon Riders.
Mm-hmm.
Like, their last act is to tear down who doomed them in the
Tear
first
down
place.
this wall. What? Yeah. Implying that the wall is, of course, an elder god.
The Wall of Jaws.
The Wall of Jaws. The Wall of Dead. That's a running
Dead
joke
wall.
that's been in the Skype chat, is that because we know that the names of the elder gods tend to be short, three letters, consonant, vowel, consonant. D-E-D, dead, is an elder god.
Oh wait, would that mean Deg is an Elder God?
Yes.
No.
Yes.
Absolutely not.
Nope.
What?
Insert Deg face here.
Don't forget, that's the Seercast Deg face.
That is going to be the Seercast Deg face. And if any of you caught that in the last video, props to you. that picture has given many of us laughing fits in here. That has caused many lulls.
Wait a minute. There's one last thing I was wondering about One of a Kind, though. Have you guys seen, apparently there's like threads on the forums and on Reddit and stuff, but people getting teleported to the fight in Theragorn's hidey hole? Something like that? Like they fight the Dragon Hunters again? Is that... I don't know if that's true or if it's trolling, but it seems kind of weird that, randomly you get teleported there.
Don't know.
Haven't heard of it.
No idea.
Yeah, it's like, I think someone
Seems
was,
pretty rare. Oh no.
Oh, that's the new way to get there. Because I know that they
Uh-huh.
changed it, because that was the hot fix, is that they changed it so that instead of it teleporting you outside of the dungeon thing, it teleported you straight in.
Okay. And I guess if you didn't have your combat gear and everything,
Yeah.
it'd be a nice surprise.
I liked, before we wrap this up, I'll go back to the Wildy thing, that if this quest did not have wilderness in it, it would not have been complete.
Yeah, it wouldn't have...
It was just minor judgment errors that ended up causing problems from Raven, like the fact that you teleport everybody to the same square in the wilderness.
Yeah, I mean, it would feel pretty hollow if Hannibus couldn't see the King Black Dragon after the Last Rider's journal and all that build-up.
Yeah, and considering that the wilderness is the general homeland of the dragons, it just kind of... is that a post-wilderness thing, or was that the case in Friend 3 as well? Do we know?
We need to pester somebody about that.
That's a good question.
You would assume it would be, since, it was the seat of Zaros' power, some of his best troops were the Dragon Riders. It makes sense that they would live there too, but...
Yeah, it'd still be in Friend 3.
Well, it's probably like the most isolated place in the entire world now. Like, no one's ever gonna
but
go
now,
there.
but the question is, back when it was actually Friend 3, when it was a thriving area, when it wasn't dead, like... Was that still the home area of the dragons, or...
Yeah, probably.
Yeah, that's the question I have. Because, I mean, clearly it is now, but is that because it's a dead area that's isolated that nobody goes to because it's super dangerous, or are they just still there from before?
I think they're still there. You can house train a dragon. I mean, we've got one in the Citadel. It's not burning anything down. So.
Is he still frosty, or is he...
He's still frosty.
Good.
I thought he was always a low.
Junior? No.
But yeah. So I think that pretty much covers everything. Did we miss anything?
Nope. Wait, we should talk about what we're doing next week and the week
Yeah,
after.
I'll do that after I'm sure that we're not missing something here.
I think we're good.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah.
So that should pretty much cover everything for One of a Kind. Next week, there's a couple more really good weeks coming up. The Majorat Memories is the update of this week, and then following that is Fate of the Gods. Mod Jack has suggested.
Wait.
Huh?
I'd just like to point out that Mod Jack expects that we'll be having a 15-hour podcast on Majorat Memories.
Yeah. Yeah, that's what I was about to say. Like, Mod Jack expects a long one for Majorat Memories. So I'm pretty much... I think it's safe to say that we're probably going to have another one of these next week.
Possibly even 2, if it's really as lore-heavy as we think.
Yeah, we'll see. That's definitely a we'll see kind of thing. And, I mean, if it does turn into... If it does turn into a significantly long...
We might just split it up in 2.
It might end up being split up.
Mm-hmm.
But we'll see. And that's something that I won't know until next weekend. I won't know at least until Monday. Probably not till next weekend. But, yeah, so that's something interesting to look forward to. The Majorat Memories Seercast will be next week. In 2 weeks we will have a Fate of the Gods Seercast. So, busy few weeks for us. And I think that covers everything that we needed to, so until next time, we will see you guys later.
Before Lime.
Happy lore failing.
Goodbye, everyone.
See you guys later.
Bye.
Adios.
See ya.
Bye.